my group is a Facebook group. And as you know, Facebook is being censored extremely, terribly. So what I had done is I reached out to another guy who has been leading the fight on Telegram, more on the legal side of things. So what I did was I merged with a few groups to bring it all together. So now, we have our Facebook group, we have our Telegram group that are pretty much giving all the people information on the legalities and what we have done so far. Our group already has the Democracy Fund sending legal letters to these organizations on our behalf. So they know what's happening. They know we're not budging, and we're going to continue to fight this. But what I was talking about is the event we threw for the kids. We locked down the streets of Toronto. We called it Shinny Night in Canada. We had speakers of all kinds, ex-NHLers, politicians, doctors, frontline nurses, and the list goes on.
Right.
And for 5 hours, the kids had the biggest smiles on their faces. They were able to play hockey in the streets of downtown Toronto. It was such a sight. It was like, even parents to this day are telling me the kids are still talking about it, and it hit home for them because when you looked at their faces, it was like going back to the normal days before pre-COVID. They were able to play.
No, I appreciate that. And again, I mentioned this earlier, that the community has really been torn asunder. So to have these kinds of community building events,
right.
It's a beautiful thing to see. Let's talk about the under 12. So children under 12, there is no vaccine available for them, even if they wanted it or whatnot. What happens to a under 12 child, say a 6-year-old who's playing hockey and they're in a league, but their parent is not vaccinated? What happens to that child when they show up at the door to play hockey? Can the parent join them? They're a minor.
Absolutely not. If that parent is unvaccinated and their child is vaccinated, that child will essentially have to go into the arena by himself or herself and pretty much walk in as a 6-year-old, go to the dressing room and get dressed fully by themselves.
Wow.
That's
crazy. I can't even imagine that, because I know what it takes to do up skates. I think of what it takes to do up skates. I remember I play hockey. I know what a struggle it is to do it my own. I can't imagine a 6-year-old doing up their own skates. But is this safe? To me, maybe I'll ask the lawyer this in the next segment, but this seems like this is a safety issue. Who's got guardianship of this child while they're in this arena?
Totally. And it's a huge liability issue. If something were to happen to that child while in your presence, what happens? Is it on the parent because you didn't allow them in? Or is it on the organization? Who takes liability? And this is the story of these vaccines as well. No one is taking liability. There are way too many red flags. There's people like myself who have done hours and hours and hours of research, enough to make a decision, for myself and for my family. Right?
Okay, so with respect to hockey, and with these mandates, which obviously there are many, as you said, thousands of children who've been excluded, do you see anything changing in the near future? You take Ontario, for example. If Doug Ford were to ban these mandates, just say no, we're going to enforce this and we're going to ban mandates in youth sports, as his protocol says, that probably would solve it. Is there any hope that would happen?
Well, for the last time I heard, the province had mentioned they were aiming to have these mandates, I believe, lifted by March. So, if you're foreseeing that you're going to lift these mandates in March, when you understand that these caseloads are going down each and every day, people are trying to get back to life. Why couldn't you just speed up that process? Because he knows there are people suffering. He knows. Doug Ford knows that there are parents, because they reach out to him every day, and I see, little messages here and there that parents are sending to him about their struggles, about what's happening and why their kid can't play hockey or basketball or whatever the case may be. Okay. And the fact that he's continuing is just ridiculous.
We only have 20 seconds left. Will sports ever be able to gain parents' trust again after this?
Organizations who mandated these, for me, I don't think so. There's other leagues that are trying to come up, like the ORHL. It's the Ontario Rep Hockey League. Totally does not discriminate whether you're vaxxed or not. They are starting teams in Toronto. The Toronto Lions is the first one that is being up and they're having skates and going to tournaments. So that's a great sign. I just hope things continue to flow in that direction. We can get back to normal because that's what everyone wants.
Okay, Joe, thank you so much for your time today.